They will still be receptive because so we need that sense of balance in the course of our lives. But the first sort of perspective with regards to understanding what it means to fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to fear divine punishment. And we see this within Dua al-Hamza. When the Imam sallallahu alayhi states, أبكي لخروج نفسي أبكي لظلمة قبري أبكي لسؤال منكر ونكير إياه. Oh Allah, why should I not cry? Why should I not be worried? Why should I not be in a state of fear? Because I'm scared of that moment when my soul will leave my body. I'm scared of that moment when I will be lowered into my grave. I'm scared of that moment when the angels will come to question me about my deeds and about my belief. But at the end of the day, it's also about us understanding that the fear of the Prophet and his family ﷺ was not only limited to this stage. Which is why a second stage of what it means to fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not the fear of punishment, but rather it's a fear that runs a bit deeper. A fear of the sense of the authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not a fear like I'm scared, but a fear of reverence and a fear of respect. That when you look at your parents and you don't want to disappoint them, you look at your parents and you're not worried that they might punish you for committing an act of transgression or for doing the wrong thing or for saying the wrong thing. But you want to be careful with your behavior and your action because they're your parents. Because you love them, and because you respect them, and you don't want them to see this side of you. And we see this throughout the ahadith of Ahl-e-Bait and so many anecdotes that, for instance, it says that when Imam Zayn al-Abidin would be about to perform wudu, his face would turn yellow. What does it mean? When the Imam ﷺ is in that state. Or when Imam al-Hasan ﷺ would be approaching the holy mosque of Mecca, after he departs from Medina, he would fall down from his horse and he would call out, Ilahi, abduka biwak. Oh my Lord, your servant is at your door. They would go to him and they would say, Yabna Rasulullah, why are you in this state? He would state, وَكَيْفَ لَا أَكُونُ كَذَلِكَ. How can I not be in this state when I'm standing in front of the creator of the heavens and the earth? There's a sense of understanding and reverence for who you are in the state of wisdom. But then there is also the highest state of fear. Not the fear of punishment, nor this notion of fear of reverence or of respect, but a fear of our own selves. When Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam would stand and bow and prostrate to Allah Azza wa Jal, his servant would come to him. Many of you have heard the anecdote. Comes to him and says, Oh Yabna Rasulullah, all you do is stand. And all you do is prostrate. And your ankles are bruised because of how much you are standing and bowing and prostrating. Take it easy. It's going to be fine. He said, bring me the prayer manual of my grandfather Ali. Then he would look at the way that Imam Amir would worship. What would he say? He says, where is my worship and where is the worship of Ali? In other words, what? He looks within himself. He's not concerned about reward. He's not concerned about punishment. The only thing that the Imam sees at that moment is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the only thing that he sees is a little bit more effort that he can put forth in terms of it, actualizing within his own self. And in that is a lesson for myself and for all of us. That sometimes we take a look at our good deeds and we're satisfied with them, and that's good. But other times we need to take a look at our deeds and wonder whether or not we could have been a little bit more sincere. And we're always playing this game, so to say, within our own self, going back to the hadith of the Prophet, لا يكون مؤمن مؤمنا حتى يكون خائفا راجعا. That a believer is not a believer until sure he is between fear, as the Imam alayhi salam says in Dua Abu Hamza al-Tamali, he says, إلهي إذا رأيت ذنوبي فزعت وإذا رأيت كرمك. Oh Allah, when I look at my own sins, I'm scared. But then when I look at your grace and I take a look at your generosity, I forget my sins for the only thing that I see. The Imam alayhi salam continues and says, says, oh Allah, on the day of judgment, if you hold me to account for my sins, I'm going to say, aren't you the most merciful? As Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, like we say, that when in Dua Kumair, when Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, he said that, oh Allah, if you were to throw me into the fires of hell, what would I tell them? I would tell the inhabitants of the fires of hell, how much I love you. Because they're always within the state of hope, the fear. They take a look at their sins, they take a look at their wrongdoings, they worry about their future. But then we remember the mercy and the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that brings me then to the second dimension. Which is then, what does it mean then to have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Now again, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ says that a believer is not a believer until she or he is fearful and hopeful. And theologians from the school of Ahl-e-Bait have said in reality, to have hope in God is to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you invest hope in anyone or in anything, it's your demonstration of love. So then what does it mean to loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Also there are three layers. The first layer of what it means to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to love God because He sustains us. Almost obvious. But in reality, even this, like we said before, has some nuance to it. Do I really only love God because God sustains me? God gives me life, God gives me family, God gives me wealth, God gives me all of these privileges in the course of this dunya. If the only reason why I love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is because He gives me things, what happens if I don't have those things anymore? You go to a child, right? My own children. I have two daughters, they're 7 and 5. Once in a while, I tell my child, for instance, that you can't have this no matter how much you want this toy, no matter how much you want this chocolate, no matter how much you want this ice cream, I can't give it to you. Why, Mama? Because it's not good for you. If you don't give this to me, I don't love you anymore. What do we as parents respond? I still love you. At that moment, they see love solely as us sustaining them. Once we again demonstrate that we still love them, they say, no, I still love you, Baba. But at that moment, they're going through a crisis. They're wondering exactly, why is my mom, why is my dad not giving me what I want? And how many of people, when we don't get what we want, we say, where's Allah? Oh Allah, where are you? Why are you not responding to me? Is there really a God? How many times do we do that within our own lives? Again, as the Imam alayhi salam, he says, in that famous hadith, he states, Ilahi, la abadtuka khawfan min narik. I don't worship you out of a fear of hell. Wala abadtuka tama'an fi jannatik. Nor am I worshiping you for hope in your paradise. I'm not concerned about that. And that's not to say that we can't worship God via these lenses. We're building to that capacity, which is abadtuka li'annaka ahbibni. We're not concerned whether God gives or whether God takes. We worship God because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to be worshipped. And that brings us then to the second layer of what it means to loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sallallahu from the door. The second layer of what it means to loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala among some theologians is where they state that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who holds the most beautiful names. Allah is the all-just. Allah is the all-merciful. Allah is the all-compassionate. Allah is the all-generous, and so on and so forth. And the human being is naturally inclined toward all of these most perfect qualities. Every human being loves justice. Every human being loves patience. Every human being loves gratitude. Every human being loves mercy. Every human being loves the ones who actualize these names and these attributes. Innately, within our fitrah, we have a desire toward actualizing, toward perfecting, toward manifesting, toward illuminating all of these qualities in the most human form that we possibly can. And once we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He holds these names and He illuminates them, of course, in a way that our intellects don't have the capacity to perceive, When we state that we love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we love God because we love mercy. We love God because we love justice. We love God because we love love. And Allah is the all-just, and Allah is the all-merciful, and Allah is all love. So thus we state that it is an innate nature of the human being that if we know who God is, then naturally we are inclined toward love. Similarly, when it comes toward those who actualize or reflect these qualities in human form to the best of their capabilities, we take a look at the prophets of God. We take a look at the Imams of Ahl-e-Bait. Who is the most beloved man in the world? Jesus alayhi salam. Christians love him. Muslims love him. Why? Did Jesus have wealth? Did Jesus have property? No. But Jesus had qualities whereby through his anecdotes, through his words, through the lessons that we learn from his life, everybody is unanimous with their appreciation and their adoration for him because he manifested these qualities to the best that he possibly could have been. We're exposed to the light of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, and we are so inclined to them, though we never saw them, though we never smelt their fragrance, though we never heard their words, we never spent a moment with them, but yet we have this love for them more than we have love for our family members. Why? Because we've been exposed to their light, and it's innate within ourselves such that we love them. And that brings me to the third layer.